Hello, Homestead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence.
From Homestead Media, this is HHS In-Depth.
Welcome back to HHS In-Depth. On today's show, you'll learn about the upcoming opportunities to travel the world this summer, find out all the information you need about this year's Taste of Homestead event, and later you will see how one of our classes learned more about Hispanic culture during this year's Hispanic Heritage Month. Then, to wrap up the show, we'll tell you all you need to know about this week's Spartan Athletics and a new edition of Down to the Wire. All this and much more coming up on this week's edition of HHS In-Depth.
Today is Friday, October 25th, and thank you for joining us on HHS In-Depth. I'm Elena Baker.
And I'm Kenley Sugar. And Elena, do you know what you're dressing up as for Halloween yet?
I do. Me and my friends are going as different characters from The Wizard of Oz. Do you know what you're doing?
I do not, but I just hope it's not as cold as last Halloween. Luckily, weather reporter Emma Newberry is here to give us some insight on the upcoming Halloween night.
Well, guys, this week is starting to finally feel like fall, and you can expect the same for your Halloween festivities. Tonight will be the best out of all the nights of the weekend to get out to a haunted house, with it being 64 degrees, and it will cool down once the sun goes down, dropping to the low 40s under those cloudy skies. Those temperatures will continue to get colder throughout the night, so be prepared for the eerie weather sounds making the night feel even spookier. Looking into the weekend, on Saturday, the high will be 60 with partly cloudy skies, and Sunday being nearly identical. Both days seem to be the perfect day to go out to the pumpkin patch and pick out that perfect pumpkin for Halloween. Emma Newberry, HHS In-Depth.
And now we go beyond Homestead.
Target is slashing prices on more than 2,000 items, marking the second time this year that the retailer cut customer costs as it attempts to attract inflation-weary shoppers ahead of the holiday shopping season. Some prices have dropped effective immediately on a number of items, including home goods, beauty products, food, beverages, and toys. In a press release, Target said it routinely adjusts its prices to remain competitive in markets across the country, and the discounting will continue through December. In other news, LeBron James began his record-tying 22nd NBA season as he stepped onto the court for the Los Angeles Lakers season opener on Tuesday. Adding to this milestone, his son, Bronny, joined him on the court later in the game, making them the first father-son duo in the league's history to play together in a regular season game.
Thank you, Elena, for some news beyond the walls of Homestead. We'll be right back on HHS In-Depth.
This October is Bullying Prevention Month. Bullying impacts 1 in 5 students, causing real harm both in person and online. But we can help stop it. This October, stand up for kindness and respect. Report bullying when you see it, support those affected, and be the change in your community. Together, we can make schools safer for everyone.
Welcome back to HHS In-Depth.
This past summer, 2 groups of Homestead students had the chance to travel abroad with their teachers. Reporter Owen Kruger joins us now with the story over their group activities, lessons learned, and future travel plans for Homestead students.
If you're a returning Homestead Spartan, you might remember seeing various promotions for a summer trip taken overseas last year.
There were 2 groups that ventured this past summer. Travel Club visited Costa Rica, organized by Mrs. Bush.
And we decided this year we were going to go to Costa Rica, and we did an adventure course there, which was super, super fun.
On the other hand, Mrs. Bogdanowicz took students and parents to New Zealand and Australia.
Well, for me personally, I've never been to the Southern Hemisphere, and so I wanted to experience New Zealand.
Although they went across the world, both teachers found ways to relate their trips back to their classrooms.
Geologically speaking, since I'm a earth-space science teacher, lots of geological features, volcanoes, geothermal areas.
The way that they eat differently, very natural food, very healthy, very whole foods. Exactly what we're learning about, that is the most nutritious.
For anyone interested in traveling this summer, next up from Mrs. Bogdanowicz is Greece. Mrs. Bush is holding the next travel club meeting Tuesday, November 5th at 6 p.m.
Anybody at Homestead can be a travel club member, including incoming freshmen, even seniors. After you graduate, you can still come to travel club and still, help us decide where we're going to go. You can help us, decide all the logistics of all of our travel experiences.
Be sure to check out the 2025 summer trips, as these opportunities to explore overseas may not arise again. Owen Kruger, HHS In-Depth.
Thanks for the story, Owen. Students, make sure you don't miss out on the early bird pricing of the 2025 yearbook, which ends on December 20th. All ordering has moved online this year. If you have not purchased your 2025 yearbook, you can do so by scanning the QR code shown in the graphic or by going to yearbookforever.com.
Interact Club will be holding their annual Purple Pinky Day on Thursday, October 31st. For a $1 donation, students can have their pinky painted purple or a purple ribbon tied around their finger. Proceeds will fund polio vaccinations in countries where the disease has yet to be eradicated. The Purple Pinky is used by medical personnel to identify those vaccinated. Tables will be set up at doors 1 and 33 before school.
Last week, the Spartan Alliance Band competed at the Bands of America event at Lucas Oil Stadium, facing off against 87 other bands. They secured third place overall in their class and qualified for the finals, marking their first time advancing to this stage since 2021. Only 14 out of 87 bands made it to the finals. Good luck to the band as they compete at Ben Davis High School tomorrow, aiming for their 37th consecutive trip to the ISMA State Finals.
This past Tuesday, members of the Student Athletic Leadership Team had the opportunity to serve as judges at Woodside Middle School Science Fair. The top 6th grade projects were showcased, with students hoping to qualify for the next level of competition. The leadership team selected the top 3 projects to advance to the regional competition, which will take place later this month.
The SAD Club at Homestead has organized a dress-up week for Red Ribbon Week next week. This campaign promotes a visible commitment to living a safe, healthy, and drug-free lifestyle. The image seen here shows next week's dress-up themes. Be sure to look for posters around school for dress-up day reminders.
A taste of Homestead's 10th anniversary is just around the corner, and reporter Evan Wallet is here to share what it's all about, along with details on how you can get involved this year.
A yearly tradition gathers students from many different cultures to prepare and share food from a chosen country. This event is called Taste of Homestead.
Taste of Homestead is an annual event we have every spring at Homestead, and what it is students form small groups, and then once they have a group formed, each group will pick a country. What they're really researching is the food from that country, and then once they've done some research on the food, they'll pick a food to make for the event, and then on Taste of Homestead, they'll come with their groups and share food with the Southwest Island community.
In the 4 to 5 meetings leading up to the event on February 26th, participants will be helped with picking a country, what food to make, a poster to display, and more.
This is the 10th year anniversary for Taste of Homestead, and it's grown into probably one of the most popular events we have at Homestead. So we're really proud of what it's turned into. We think it's a great way to get involved, and the best part is you get to sample food from all around the world, and everybody likes to do that.
If you're interested in learning more about Taste of Homestead, please attend the call-out meeting on November 7th after school in the cafeteria. For more information or questions, please contact Senor Pieper at the email address shown below. Evan Wallet, HHS In-Depth.
Thank you for the story, Evan. Now let's shift gears and take a look at the extended forecast, including what's in store for Halloween night next Thursday.
Thankfully, it looks like next week will be much warmer than what we see this weekend. Monday's temperatures jump up to a high of 67, with Tuesday and Wednesdays a heat wave hits Fort Wayne, with temps reaching the high 70s both days. Thursday, things cool off and back down to the 60s with cloudy skies and a small chance of a few rain showers, but nothing to ruin your Halloween night.
After looking at this upcoming week temperatures, I will definitely be getting outside to admire the beautiful changing leaves. Emma Newberry, HHS In-Depth.
Welcome back to HHS In-Depth.
Last week ended Hispanic Heritage Month, which is a time to celebrate and honor Hispanic culture. Reporter Jackson Foxworthy joins us now to fill us in on how Dr. Robinson's Spanish classes recognize this important month in Hispanic history.
Over fall break, Hispanic Heritage Month ended on October 15th. However, during that time, I got to speak with some teachers and students about what they're doing to recognize Hispanic heritage here in Homestead High School.
Hispanic Heritage Month runs from September 15th until October 15th, and it starts in that kind of interval because it's when the majority of independences occur for countries in Central America and then for South America.
There are many important reasons that our Spartans are learning about Latino culture and Hispanic Heritage Month.
I think it's important because we need to be exposed to different cultures and to understand people from different backgrounds who make up the population in the United States that we might not have a lot of time spent learning about them. So I think it's a good time to emphasize differences.
Students in Dr. Robinson's classes are grateful for these learning opportunities and view them as valuable cultural exchanges.
For me, Spanish Heritage Month, for the most important thing to learn from there is probably the culture, since there is so many different types of Hispanics, Latinas, and Latinos. My favorite part about reviewing in AP Spanish is that my friends get to learn about my culture, because right now they don't know much about it. So I get to just talk to them about what it's like to live in my house, or to talk to Doctora about that types of stuff, and she tells me how her experience were and how mine are, and we compare and contrast.
Our conversations with Spartans show that learning about diversity leads to the classroom being a more accepting and informative place for students. Jackson Foxworthy with HHS In-Depth.
Next week on HHS In-Depth, reporter Elena Baker brings us a story on the lifeguard shortage at Summit Middle School. Be sure to catch that story and more next week right here on HHS In-Depth.
Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm Josh Bobe. Our sports teams are in the midst of postseason play, with some winning big trophies and events. Starting with girls volleyball, last Saturday, the girls volleyball team started their postseason play in a thrilling manner. They started sectionals over at Southside High School, first beating a strong Belmont team 3-1, then sweeping Wayne in the finals to win the 4A sectional championship. The girls play for the regional championship tomorrow at 4 p.m. here in Spartan Arena. The theme is Sea of Blue, so show out and cheer on your fellow Spartans. Last Friday, the boys went over to Bishop Luers and beat them in dramatic fashion 25-14. Purdue commit Sam Stewart took over the game on both sides of the ball with 79 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, then 4 tackles and 3 sacks on the defensive side. Then Jake Thrash had 25 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns on the day. The boys don't play this week, but start sectionals next Friday at home versus HSE. On Saturday, the girls cross country team placed second at the IHS AA sectional at Huntington University. Evelyn Goldstone finished 6th for the Spartans, then Caitlin Hansen 10th, Lindsay Arnold 11th, and Briar Saddington 13th rounded out the top 15 finishers. The girls are going to the regional meet tomorrow morning at Huntington University. Moving on to boys tennis, Ben Garion will be competing at the IHS AA state meet as the #1 singles competitor. He is one of 7 people who made it to the state quarterfinals, which will be played today at 2 p.m. down at Park Tudor High School. Good luck to him as he tries to make his way to the state semifinals and championship, which will be played tomorrow. And finally, it's time to reveal this week's male and female Spartan Athletes of the Week. Nearly every week we have a show, we will select 2 winners from our current sport. The winners can pick up their prize from the athletics office. Congratulations to this week's winners. From boys cross country, Cooper Canablo, and from unified flag football, Peyton Rainier. That'll wrap up this week's edition of Down to the Wire. Make sure to follow Homestead Athletics on both Instagram and Twitter for updates on Homestead-related sports news. Josh Bobe, HHS In-Depth. Back to you, Kenley and Elena.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you to everyone watching the show today.
That'll do it for today's episode of HHS In-Depth.
Make sure to follow our socials to keep up with the latest news from Homestead Media.
Have a great 3-day weekend, Homestead, and we'll see you back here again next week.